Welcome to Annatude, a relationship podcast about love, friendships, and everything in between. Hello, and welcome to Annatude with Anna. I'm here with a very special guest, Leah, all the way from Iowa. Say hello to the listeners.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the podcast.
That's right. So before we get started, I have to do a couple shout outs. These are people that support the podcast. Shout out to Tara D from California and Heather M from Oklahoma. So shout out. Ooh, ooh. So here we go. So Leah, I know Leah from our mutual friend, Liz. She's been on the podcast multiple times. She's from Iowa, and she told me Leah owns her own tanning business. This was last year when I found this out. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Girl boss, hashtag girl boss. And then before I came, I tried to come for her birthday, Liz's birthday, which is on July 5th. But she said, do you remember Leah? She's bringing waffles. And at first I was like, what do you mean she's bringing waffles? She's like, no, what I mean is like she owns her own waffle business where she's going to have basically a food truck. And I was like, oh, hell yes. I love waffles so much because I love bread and I love breakfast and I love any excuse to eat a waffle. So tell the listeners first how you got started with your tanning business. Let's hear that story.
Yeah. So Bronze 515 is a UV-free airbrush tanning studio. So we only offer UV-free, so custom spray tan. So very popular, yes. West Coast. People have been getting them for years. I opened Bronze 515 just as a side hustle. I kind of always tell the story that I started it with $100 in my bank account. I borrowed money from my mom, my boyfriend, to kind of fund this idea. Sorry, my dog's behind me.
Oh, little Roddy.
He's going to be part of the podcast too.
He's adorable. He's beautiful.
Yes, his name's Capone. Say hi, Capone.
Hi, Capone. Oh, hello there. Oh, yeah, he's tilting the head.
Definitely. He does this often with me.
Oh, yes.
So it kind of just started as a side hustle. I was working in the corporate world and just really wasn't enjoying what I was doing, but I liked the job because when you work a corporate job, they suck you in. It's good benefits, great PTO, matching 401k. And I kind of was like, I'm just not satisfied.
You're not being fulfilled.
Wasn't being fulfilled. Yeah. And I had this master's degree that I went to school for and got my master's degree and I wasn't doing anything with it. And I still obviously don't do anything with it, but I kind of was like, what's an area that maybe needs to be tapped into a little bit more? And the thing that I always, when I talk about my business is my business was founded on not something that I necessarily love. Like I didn't love spray tanning. I was a bed tanner my whole life. I loved tanning beds.
I mean, we came from the era of, you know, Paris Hilton, Britney Spears and Jersey Shore, and we didn't really have access. I mean, I lived in Wyoming and I lived in Arizona. I live in Arizona now, but like spray tans didn't really start popping off where I lived up until like about, I want to say 5 years ago for real, because then people are like, oh, wait, UV is making me look like a leather belt. So maybe I should switch it up. So yeah, that's interesting that you weren't like heavy into spray tans because usually that's why people start a business because they would benefit from doing the thing that they're starting a business for.
Right. And I kind of was like, okay, I don't love spray tans, but I know that like other people are going to love spray tanning, especially if you mix it with quality product, quality customer service, and just kind of a mission that people are going to gravitate towards. And obviously in Iowa, spray tanning is very predominantly like women. That age where like we're figuring out that like we want to look young. So tanning in bed is a complete opposite. Being outside is opposite. And so I just was like, you know what, we're going to open this. So I started in like a 90 square foot room in like the downtown area of where I live and just did it every night. After I got off work, I'd go there from 5:30 to 10. And then it eventually just kind of took off. And then after 2 years of doing it as a side hustle, I left my corporate job in August of 2018. So I've almost been at this full-time for 3 years. So that's kind of like the background of this. And then I hired people. And when you hire people, your business really does grow. It's hard to let go some of the
responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So since you are, you know, a business owner and you are running a company, and you are based in good customer service, how did you get employees that represent your brand in the way that you want to be represented? How did you train them, or what did you look for when you hired them?
The funny thing that I always tell people is like, no one applies to work for me. I find them. And that's really what I did is I found my first employee who's been with me. Her name is Erin. She was a teacher. She's from my hometown, but she's like 5 or 6 years younger than me. So I didn't really ever know her. I just like knew of her. And I thought, it's going to be a good side hustle for people. So I'm the only full-time employee. And then everyone else that does this wants to be there. They don't need to be there. And that's the one thing I think is important when you're looking for people in your business, especially maybe if it's just a part-time job, you want them to want to be there. Not that they like have to be there to pay their bills. It's just extra fun money for all the girls that do work for me. And I have a Urbandale, Des Moines location. Urbandale is just a suburb of Des Moines. And then I have a Ames location, which is where Iowa State University is, that has 30,000 plus students there. I don't know. They're a Big 12 or Big 10. I can't remember. They're a big school. So we're on Main Street there. And our hours are really different in Ames than they are in Urbandale. Ames is kind of like a satellite location is kind of like what I call it. But I signed a 3-year lease there. Whereas Urbandale is like permanent temp, like
your flagship store. It's going to be
it's
there.
The original. It's the OG.
Yeah.
It's where I started. It's kind of what got me to where I'm at today is Urbandale. And then in March of 2019, I opened up my second store, which is in Ames. And then that is employed by another 4 girls that just do this part-time. And our Ames location is just open in the evenings because spray tanning people they like to do it in the evening. I'm busy all day.
Because I feel like, because you can't wash it off. And you also have to you have to leave it on for a certain amount of time. So bedtime's probably the best time around the night time. And Ames is where Iowa University is, correct? Iowa State. Yep.
Now, a quick word from our sponsors. Just kidding, I don't have any sponsors. Are you tired of hearing boring ads? I hate hearing ads, especially ones that don't apply to me, like AARP or Madison Reed to dye my hair at home. I don't dye my hair. Also, if you're tired of waiting until the next episode drops, or you want to see my beautiful face and the face of my guests, then head on over to Patreon. Patreon is a creator website where you pay a monthly subscription. You don't sign a contract or anything. You can cancel anytime. If you decide you hate Annatude and you no longer want to be an Annaholic, you can cancel. Memberships start at $2. That's right. 2 smackaroos. So head on over to patreon.com/AnnatudPod.
Genius,
because it's 40 miles from my house, so it's not like I can go there every day. I mean, you could, but I really honestly don't have to go up to Ames very often. It's pretty well taken care of by the girls that I trained up there. And so I have 11 or 12 part-time employees, with 8 or 9 of them being spray tanners, and then a couple just like front desk people. And then I do have a girl who's been with me for a really long time, help me manage my social media by just keeping my stories constantly going, posting things for me, like when I don't have time. Sometimes she'll answer questions, but for the most part, I take care of all the questions that come through. But so yeah, it's been a journey. It's been fun. I just hit our 5-year anniversary on July 5th.
Congratulations. That's huge.
We have a big party this Friday. We're doing
I wish I could be there. Yeah.
And things like that. White Claws, nothing crazy, but when you own a business, you kind of have to do stuff where you are thanking your clients and also trying to get an opportunity to maybe get more business too. So bring a friend, book a spray tan. But really it's ultimately at the end of the day to just say thank you, because obviously without your clients, you wouldn't be to where you're at. So
exactly. Well, that's amazing. I just really love business women. Obviously that's no shade to men who own their own business, but you know, women only make up a certain percentage of business owners, and that you started this by yourself. I mean,
not a whole lot of help. I mean, my mom and sister, like,
I mean, money, but I mean, nobody, yeah, it's not like you had like CEO of a company that wanted to invest in you. You did this literally.
Yep. I started it from the ground up. Yeah,
that's
I started
amazing.
from the ground up. And I wasn't raised in a family of entrepreneurs.
So
I
this was literally out of the box, out of the norm for your family.
Yep. My dad, you know, no one really like started a business like this. I mean, I've had family members that like have done other things like for another business and it's kind of considered their own, but never like their own marketing. I mean, I was broke. I did my own website. I made my own business cards. I mean, I didn't even have Instagram when I had this business started. And I was like, I go back to like our post just to kind of almost be humbled in a way by the post I was doing 5 years ago to this day. And I'm like, oh God, they're so bad, but we all do
cringy.
that.
Like, so that's why I archive all my photos that from the past because I'm so embarrassed. Like, I don't want to look at it.
They're definitely archived. So I kind of just, you know, I never had that fuel that I wanted to be an entrepreneur until I got this idea in my head that I was going to open a spray tanning studio. And I never like wanted to do really anything else. Like I never was like, I'm going to own a t-shirt business or I'm going to bake cakes. And I don't know why spray tanning just stuck with me. And it stuck with me for like almost a year.
Yeah. Because you were smart saying where is there a gap in the service industry? Because there already are stores that sell t-shirts. There already are stores that are bakeries and all that. And I feel like especially a bakery, that would be so difficult to promote as there's so many in Iowa already. Because
there are.
Iowa loves food. So I will say that they love their food.
We do.
So how did the waffle idea come about? Because I'm passionate about waffles. So that's how I know I would start a waffle business because I love a waffle.
So I kind of like over COVID, obviously I had to close for 2 months because I'm technically considered a salon. So in Iowa, we were closed for about 2 months. So I kind of started getting on Pinterest and I started coming up with these ideas. Like I'm going to get this vintage horse trailer and I'm going to convert it. I don't even know what it's going to cost me, but I'm going to do something out of it. So when I tell this story for people who don't know me super well, my last name is Wafful. So that is why I started Waffles and Whip. My last name is just spelled Wafful. My ancestors couldn't get it right. So
they're like, Waffle.
So that's kind of how Waffles came about. It was a no-brainer for me. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna have a food truck, I can't do like ice cream. I have to do waffles. And so I was like, I don't want to do batter waffles. I wanted to do these fun dough-based waffles that I kept seeing online that no one really in Iowa does. I mean,
I've never tasted one before in my life until I tasted yours. So they're at
Leahs Waffle is how it's pronounced. So they hail from Liège, Belgium, which is a town in Belgium. And they don't taste like a waffle. They kind of look like a waffle. I mean, there might be little bits and pieces of them that kind of taste like a waffle, but it's just, they're doughy, they're chewy, they're caramelized, and they're cleaner as far as like, they're not batter. So like there's just not crap everywhere in the trailer. Right. It's a dough. So the dough goes on this.
Yeah. And then you can make it into a waffle. That's way easier. Yeah.
It's Iowa and we like things with sticks in them.
Sticks. Well, I like it because it's on the go. You can't, I mean, that's perfect. Because when Liz told me that you were having waffles and that you have waffle truck, I was like trying to picture like, that's cool, but like I picture people just walking around with syrup and eat like a traditional waffle. So when I had these on the stick, I was still doing things, eating my waffle, and I was like, "This is truly a dream come true." Like I can
for kids too. I feel like that you don't want to be messy, which is ideal for people if they're coming. So my food truck. My business model is very different than your typical food trucks you're seeing in Arizona, California, Iowa, anywhere. I mean, people definitely do it like how I do it. So obviously Bronze 515 is my like main focus. It's my main business. It's how I pay my bills. Waffles and Whip was just something fun I wanted to start because I needed to be challenged. I wasn't being challenged enough with Bronze 515 and I didn't really want to open up another location. I wanted to do something completely different. And so that's why Waffles and Whip was started, was because one, I was bored, and two, I needed to be challenged. And if you know anything about food, it is a completely different game. It is
it's
completely different. It's hard to understand. Every state is different. And then you're going to go have this kitchen on wheels pretty much is ultimately what you are. So my business model is pretty much private events only. So really we're catering to like weddings is like our main focus, graduation parties, sorry about that. And a whole bunch of other like different types of private stuff that you could be doing. And so I think that people have had a hard time, not that they don't want that, but like a lot of people are like, hey, we want you to come to like our block parties, our block party in our neighborhood. And I'm like, yeah, it's not that type of food truck.
Yeah.
It's really a trailer because we converted a 1980, so of over 40-year-old trailer into this mobile waffle, a gourmet waffle bar is kind of what I call it. And so it's super small. I do small events, so pretty much anything around like 150 people or less. So I'm not going to like art festivals or like Lollapalooza, anything like that, where I'm like waiting for people to come to me, because in my mind, I'm thinking if I'm going to go and spend a Saturday somewhere, which is fine. I expect that when I own a food truck business to be busy on the weekends. I want to know how much I've made before I get there.
Yes, that makes absolute sense. You don't want to go somewhere and you sell 2 waffles and you just wasted your whole Saturday, a whole bunch of fresh products.
Or it could just be a really bad day or a really bad turnout. And obviously you have a minimum, but, and I do have a minimum. So most people are like, I want you to come to like my, a bridal shower of 10 people. That's fine, but my minimum is a lot. Like it's not a lot, but you know, it's a lot.
It's to compensate your time and you're buying the product. And you don't gratuity. Gratuity, just all of that taken care of right off the bat. And if you're only serving 10 people and you don't charge a minimum, then you're really not making a profit. You're actually wasting money. So that's
I think a lot of
business decision.
Do that in the beginning, where a lot of people just don't know and understand what their markup should be, what their value should be. And I value my weekends. Like I don't need waffles and whip to survive, where a lot of food trucks are, that's what they're doing to survive, to feed their family. So they're doing 2-3 events on a Saturday. Whereas I just do one event, one Saturday, one Friday, whatever I have, but I am only doing one event per day. And so what that's creating is it's creating a demand, and I only have one waffle trailer. So I can guarantee you most people that are going to be at your wedding have never had our waffles, nor have they ever probably had Leahs waffles. So we're creating that unique experience. And I want people to understand that like, it's an experience to have these waffles, plus the decor that comes with it and things like that. And it does come with a lot of other stuff too. It's not just like the waffles in the trailer. Like we provide everything. So everything's all encompass of our packages, which includes mileage. We travel 40 miles from Des Moines. We're really trying to just stick with like venues and private properties. Or if a business wants to pay for us to come like on their parking lot property, we'll do that. But again, it's like I'm busy typically Monday through Friday with my spray tanning studio. Yeah. And so Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays
are sacred to you. Yeah. And you need to be compensated for your time, or else it's not worth the energy to, put into it. Sure. And that horse trailer, can you say your Instagram for the listener so that when I'm going to post it in the show notes as well. Yeah. What's your Instagram for your waffles?
So it's waffles and whip.
Okay. So it's very straightforward. Her horse trailer is gorgeous. I do not even like that kind of like, that's not my vibe, but yours is my vibe. I would love to just like, I'm going to go find a husband just so I can take a picture in front of it, because it's so cute. How did you do that? What was the process of getting that horse trailer renovated?
So I did not do any of it myself. I hired a contractor because I just knew it would take too long. And I was like, by the time a lot of people do things, even just house renovations, they've put more money into it than they expect. I was like, here's my budget. This is what I want. Here's my mood board. These are my Pinterest photos. Let's create it as best as we can. And so I told him, I was like, I don't need it anytime until like early summer, late spring. And so he pretty much just worked on it like after he got off work from his like constructions jobs, because he has his own construction business. And so we just worked together on it. And really it was just like him. And then at the end for like the last couple of days, I think he had a little bit of help with it. But I ultimately needed it by like the end of June for this styled photo shoot I did, which are the photos that a lot of people are seeing on Instagram. And it's just with a really popular local photographer here that I've wanted to work with for years. And so she had an opening at the end of June, and I was like, it has to be ready.
Yeah.
I will never get another opportunity to work with her.
Yeah. 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 And the pictures are gorgeous. model, the bride model, she was stunning. It was just all beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh.
From Colorado.
What? You flew the model in?
So, and she lives in Denver, so it's super cheap to fly her.
Yeah.
But her name is Maya, and she actually is who helps me with my social media.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
she happens to be a beautiful Hawaiian 00, and her boyfriend is also cute. And so I was like, and her
sounds fake, but yeah, you had to fly her in because when are you going to have?
And the local and the dress designer that did the dresses. So when people are listening, they like see the photos. The dress designer is local, and she takes vintage tablecloths and makes them into wedding dresses.
Stop.
So it's crazy. Yeah.
Maybe I need to reevaluate where I ever have an event, just to have it in Iowa.
Cool. And what's really funny is that like she brought 3 dresses to the styled shoot we did. And thank God she brought the 3rd dress, which is the dress you see in the photos, because none of the other dresses like fit like this one. And she told us she made the dress the day before. She made this wedding dress.
A magician, a true magician.
Like, sure, she's like super quick at doing stuff like that, but you can find her. She's linked in my in our photos as well, but she does have a shop on Etsy as well where people can buy their like wedding dresses and their measurements, and people all around the world have utilized her and off of Etsy. So, and they're
Very
affordable
cool.
dresses for being custom made. So.
Yeah. And who can say their dress was made out of tablecloth? Not many. So
at least I think that's what they're made of. That's what they look.
Yeah. I mean, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. So, after, the business took off, how do you promote something such as very niche, such as a waffle truck? What is your promotion process?
So pretty much, obviously, what I've found is like your referrals are going to be huge for you without spending money. So if you don't want to do Instagram ads, and you don't want to do Facebook ads, and you don't want to do Google ads, it's like, how are you going to figure out how to promote? So obviously it's all through social media. I mean, I hate Facebook and Instagram, but at the same time, I have to have them.
For my podcast, I've never had an Instagram. I had one when I was in college, but that was many moons ago. But I was so adamant not to ever have Instagram ever again. But then I was like, this is how you got to promote nowadays, because it goes worldwide. And yeah, unfortunately.
So I've done like giveaways, which are huge. Obviously, that's how you get a lot of followers. And I try to keep my giveaways simple. The simpler they are, the better, because unfortunately, people aren't very smart sometimes. And that's me too. When I see a giveaway and it's like these 10 accounts, I'm like, that's not
done. I'm not doing it. Get away from me.
I'll be like, perfect. So I did a giveaway to win the trailer plus 25 waffles. So for 25 guests, which is great for like a bridal shower.
Yeah.
So I did that, got a lot of followers from that. But really what I focused on with Waffles and Whip is it's okay to utilize any other businesses you have to promote a new business. So
yeah, absolutely.
Close to 5,000 followers for my spray tanning studio. And so I just started posting on there once or twice a week about this new venture. I did a photo shoot. It's really important to obviously do really quality high res photos for Instagram and Facebook. And so I did like, hey, I'm opening this new business. Check me out. So I utilized and capitalized on my Bronze 515 followers to hopefully turn and like Waffles and Whip, which is what happened. It's food. Food doesn't have like a demographic.
It doesn't.
Tanning definitely has a demographic.
Yes.
Females, a lot of people who are darker skinned don't think that they can get spray tans, which is not true. And so it's just like with food, everybody
loves food.
It's waffles. So it's like everybody likes waffles.
And I feel like too that even though it's like a certain demographic, spray tanners are usually people who are going to get married or have an event, either graduation, party or what have you. So that actually kind of goes hand in hand too, is that female clients are having these events. So I see
brides, which is crazy. People don't think you probably see brides until like a week or two before the wedding. No, I see the brides like a year before they get married, because they're doing engagement photos. So they're getting spray tans for that. So then I'm like, oh, like, do you guys have a food option? This could be a dessert option in place of cupcakes or cakes or whatever, or
Mhm.
it could just be a late night snack. And I think
Yes.
people understand that like, just because it's waffles doesn't mean it has to be
Breakfast or brunch. It can
It's
be
2021.
exactly. It's like Brinner is a real thing. So you can have breakfast foods at any time of day. So it's just truly a perfect, because like most food trucks are, you know, tacos or burgers or fried food, where it wouldn't make sense to even have it during the daytime. It's like more of a late night thing. So this is smart that you can do it any time of the day. So you're obviously 10 steps ahead of everybody, because I didn't even think about that until you said that. Like you can have waffles anytime you want. So
and it's unique if you decided to have it at nighttime or in the morning time or at 2 or 3 o'clock. It's whatever you want. It's your
exactly.
wedding.
Yeah. And
So.
I mean, honestly, if I went to a wedding with waffles, I'd like genius, smart, love this. And you have different toppings. So I had the not Captain Crunch, the cinnamon toast crunch waffle. Oh,
and it's simple.
Two of my favorite things. I love a cinnamon toast crunch. If anybody knows me, I always have it on deck at my house, and a waffle. And it was like true. I was like, this is great. This is perfect. I'm not even a big dessert person. The dessert I like is breakfast food, like French toast or waffles. So I was like, this is great. I love this. I love this. This is genius.
It's a cool idea. And I mean, I don't ever stop and think about the things I do. I just keep going and going and going until my wheels burn out. And I feel like this is a unique idea. It's something hopefully, you know, we'll get really booked up for next year, as booked as I want. And that's the thing when you own a business, is you have to remember you're as busy as you want to be.
Yes.
And so that's something, it's really hard, because when you work these 9-to-5 corporate jobs and you start these side hustles, and then I think a lot of people go into opening a business and they think, oh my God, I'm going to have so much more free time. I'm only working 9 to 5.
Oh no. And you think working for yourself is easy because you're like, I'm my own boss, but then it's like, you have the responsibility of others and yourself, and to make sure these other people are employed and don't, you know, mess up your business, your livelihood. So I don't understand where people think being a business owner is all just like sleeping in all day and working 2 hours. It's not. If you're going to be successful, you have to commit to it.
Listening to this and they're like starting to think about a side hustle, or maybe their side hustle has taken off. Obviously, I always say the one thing that I never really thought about was I hate numbers, never was good at math. So I never had a financial outlook for myself. I kind of was just like, as the money comes in, the money goes out. As the money comes in, the money goes out. And so that's one thing I obviously always tell anybody that's like asking me questions about my business, is that like, have a financial plan in place. Obviously, I'm really good with marketing. I'm really good with customers. The financial side of it, I hire out for, because I don't understand it. I have a bookkeeper, I have a CPA.
Smart. And also smart to do that because you don't want to go to prison, because one thing that the IRS is very good at is finding people that owe them money. So that is, I would do that.
I mean, at least I don't think I owe them money. I don't think I make enough for them to come at me anyway. So they're looking for like the billionaires. That aren't
the actors and all that stuff that are dodging their taxes. So I have a question. Do you have any crazy like stories from the spray tanning? Because I feel like there could be some shenanigans that happen at spray tanning salon.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we get crazy stuff that happens all the time. So, I mean, it's just anything from, I can't even think. I mean, you'll get people in who like aren't sure what they can wear, if they can go naked, if they can't, and we don't care. We don't care what you wear. And honestly, like in the 5 years I've been doing this, I mean, one, it's Iowa. So I feel like not a lot happens here. And honestly, like, I can't think of anything that like stands out where I'm like,
oh, wow, that was so wild.
Oh, wow. That was like, you know, I've never been put in like a scary situation or anything like that. I mean, and I've always told my employees, I was like, if anything ever happens to you, like, come to me, we'll figure it out. But we've all been, I mean, everything's been pretty good. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, we've definitely had drunk people come in and get sprayed.
Oh, I'm sure. Have you ever had somebody try not to pay?
They're coming from like their kids' rehearsal dinner, and
and they're like, oh, I'm a little tipsy.
Those are always fun.
Have you ever had somebody not pay?
No. Oh no.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah. No, you have to you have to put a card on file before you make an appointment. Which
okay.
makes it so people, if they don't show up, get charged. And I just implemented that this spring because I was so nervous that I wasn't going to like get appointments anymore because people had to like find their credit card and put their credit card information in when they wanted to make an appointment. And so I was so scared, but we actually have been we've been crazy busy. And I added up over the years, probably like how much money I've lost in people like not showing or like canceling last minute. And it was like well over $10,000.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
It makes you like sick.
Yeah. You're like, damn, I could have had that money, but now, you know, and now I think people are more accepting of that because it's so like natural for other companies to do that. My hairdresser does that because I get my hair braided in 5 hours. And if I cancel last minute, that's, 5 hours that she could have had with, 2 other clients that aren't getting their hair braided or what have you. So it's, people's time is money. And I think people are starting to realize that you just can't, cancel like you're their only client. So, so I wanted to ask that. And then, have you ever gotten any strange requests from the Waffle, like DMs or anything? Like, hey, like, I would love to try your waffles, but I don't have any money or something like that.
No, not yet, but I'm sure. I mean, I do get a lot of people who like reach out and I think they like don't know our pricing. And so they'll be like, hey, I want you to come like 3 hours away, but like my budget's this. And I'm like, yeah, that's not
happening, honey.
I also have to be careful when I say, come taste my waffles, like Leahs Waffles, because my last name.
Yeah. Yeah. That might get a little dicey.
Phrase that like somebody's going to be like, LOL.
Yeah. Like I'll come taste your waffles, Leah. Like, Leah is a taken woman, so nobody can have her waffles but her man.
For now, I'm taken.
right. So, Leah, this has been great. Do you have any advice, especially for young women who want to become entrepreneurs themselves, besides that knowing that their time is going to be taken and that you need to plan your finances? Do you have any other advice?
I would say, get your goals in place. It's very important. I went into this like blind and was just like all in. I think just making sure you have like a 5-year plan for yourself. And if it doesn't go your way, it's fine. I make mistakes every day in my business and I learn from them. When you have a business, you're making mistakes, but you're also learning at the same time. So you're never a failure when it comes, because you're doing something that most people aren't even willing to try.
Exactly.
I think, 50% of small businesses don't make it because people aren't ready. They don't know what they're doing. So if you have the resources, which there's plenty of resources probably in people's local cities or local towns where they're offering up like free small business counseling, or there's a lot of loans for minority or small business owners that are female or women owned. And my business is 100% owned by me. So female owned businesses, co-founded or founded by me. I'm the CEO, I'm the CFO, I'm everything. And that's the way I always wanted it to be. I've never really been a great person to share things with. And so I think that when you go into things like that, seek out the advice. You got to put money into a business to make money. And that's important. And hire the lawyer if you need to like have somebody do paperwork for you, because it's better to do it in the beginning than to mess it up and have to pay somebody to redo your stuff. Form your LLC, get all your ducks in a row before you start promoting yourself online, because you never know. You might have a hater out there who is, I don't know, trying to do something and steal your business idea.
Yes.
Trademark it. I thankfully have no one tries to compete with me. So
they better not. She is the queen of spray tans and the queen of waffles.
Right. Waffles and whip, people are going to see this idea and then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can do that. And I don't know why, but people are so willing to open up food trucks than they are like spray tanning studios, which a food truck
because they think it's easier. And I can't fathom, because it just sounds like a lot of
work. Like when I spray tan, I go to my studio, I spray tan, I leave. With the waffles, it's like you have to have a separate kitchen. You have to go to that kitchen. You have to wash your dishes at that kitchen. You have to store everything at that kitchen. And then you have to like go to the event, serve at the event, get all your toppings, all that. It's just, there's like so many steps to having a food truck, where like spray tanning is like
spray tan, period.
Yeah. It's a lot easier. I'm grateful for it, but I would say that's for sure like all your ducks in a row before you consider opening a business, or if you're thinking about making the leap from corporate to being self-employed, reach out to somebody to help you. I think a lot of people jump into quitting their full-time jobs without evaluating the market and the numbers and things like that before. So definitely do that.
Perfect. I think that's great advice. So, like I said, I'm going to link Leah's information for her Instagram for both businesses. So that I do have a few followers in Iowa. I think I have like at least, I think it was like 900 last time I checked. So I don't know 900 people in Iowa. So I'm sure there's going to be more people following this, but I'm going to link her businesses in my show notes. And I will tag that also on Instagram. Leah, before you go, I always ask my guests, what is your favorite Britney Spears song?
Oh my gosh. Toxic.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, there are some right answers, and you chose one of the right answers. So I love that. So Leah, do you have anything else to say to the listeners before I let you go?
Be bronze, I always say, be bronze, be beautiful. That's hard to say. Be bold. That's
bronze, beautiful, bold, everybody. I love that. I love that. That is great advice. I'm going to start saying that to myself in the morning.
And I always say, let's get waffed up.
Let's get waffed up or fucked up. Yes, yep. I love that. Let's get waffed up. Hell yeah. I think I'm going to make some waffles right now, actually.
There you go.
So yeah, thank you, Leah, so much for being a guest. And to my listeners, if it's day, night, love and light. Bye.